أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Hi Hamid, what surah are we talking about? Surah Al Fatihah. Who can tell us another name of Surah Al Fatihah? Samir. The mother of the Quran. Who can tell us, Muhammad, why is it called the mother of the Quran?
It summarizes everything, the whole Quran.
It summarizes the whole Quran. What's another name of Surah Al Fatihah? Guys, stop eating the chips over there. What's another? Ibrahim. The mother of all the books. Why is it called the mother of all the books?
Because it, like the Quran summarizes everything.
Summarizes all books. Good. What's another name? Amir.
Al-Fatihah.
Al-Fatihah. Why is it called Al-Fatihah? Opening. Why? Because you open this with your salam. Okay. Who can tell me one? Yes, Samir. What's another name? He mentioned opening. What's another name? What's another name of Surah Al-Fatihah? Muhammad? The most repeated. Sab'a al-Mathani. Well, who can tell me the importance of the surah? What importance of the surah? Yes? It's summarizes the whole Quran in one surah. Okay, who can tell me what's so special about the surah? What happens when you read the surah? Moise?
You read it every time you pray.
Okay, every time. Okay, what else? Muhammad?
Shaitan was crying.
Yes, Shaitan. He let out a huge cry. Hakim? Very good. Say it loud.
Allah will speak back to you.
When you recite the surah, Allah what? Speaks what? Speaks back to you. Okay. So what are we doing with the surah now? We're doing what? Tafseer. What are we doing? What does tafseer mean? Who heard this name before? Ibrahim, you heard this before? Tafseer? Like they say, we are studying the tafsir of this surah. This book is a tafsir of the Quran. What does the word tafsir mean? Huh? Remember when we define something, how do we define it? Sadiq? Linguistically and a sharia technically. So what does tafsir linguistically mean? Tafsir comes from the word what? The letters fa, sin and ra. Which means to explain something, or to, discover something, or to expose something, or to make something what? Very clear. Like if Ustad Mahmoud now tells me something and I don't understand, I'll say to him, Fassir kalamak, right? I would say what? Make your statements what? Clear. What word am I using? Like tafsir, right? To make something. So this is what it means linguistically. What about technically? What does it mean? Technically, it means the science that will help you explain the what? The Quran. Or the science that will help you what? Understand the Quran. Or the science that will help you to what? Derive ruling from the what? From the Quran. So when you hear tafsir, you know that this tafsir means something that's explaining the what? Explaining what, guys? The Quran. Okay, or something that will help you understand the what? The Quran. Okay. And why is this important? Why is it important that we study the meaning of these surahs? Like we studied the meaning of Surah Qul Huwallahu Ahad. Why is that important, Moise?
Because it's part of the religion.
It's part of the religion. Okay, listen to this, Ibrahim. Okay, listen to this beautiful, Abdul Malik, listen to this beautiful example. Abdul Rahim, listen to this what? Beautiful example. A great scholar, he said, tafsir is like a king sends you a letter. A king sends you a what?
Letter.
And you're unable to understand this letter or read this letter. wouldn't you go out of your way to find someone that can explain it to you? Yes or no, Sadiq? Where did the Quran come from? Allah. So, what's your name, brother? So, Abdullah, wouldn't you want to know what it means? Yes. Or, what's your name, brother? Imran. Listen, Samir, look, listen to this beautiful example. You know, if bunch of soldiers and their leader, you know, they were somewhere, and they were waiting to hear from their what? The military leader to what to do next. What should we do next? Should we go here? Should we stay? Should we move or should we not move? They don't know what to do. And the leader, he sends them a letter. And they don't understand this letter. Would this letter help them if they don't understand?
No.
They will have to find someone that explains it to them so they can know what to do what to do next. So tafsir is just like that. It's so important because it is a letter from Allah, and we have to understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us. As a matter of fact, when Allah tells us the reason why He sent down the Quran, He says that كِتَابٌ أَنزَلْنَاهُ إِلَيْكَ مُبَارَكٌ لِيَدَّبَّرُوا, a blessed book that we sent to you guys so that you can think and reflect and ponder upon. Meaning, a book that you should understand what it means. Abdullahi, can you reflect upon something if you don't know what it means? So is it important to know the meaning?
Yes.
It's very what? It's very, very important. And also, the meaning of the Quran. Moise, can anyone say, I know tafsir 100%?
No. Never.
This science of tafsir is a science that never what? That never ends. No matter how much knowledge you know, every time, like the scholars, they say, when they would read a surah, they would find a benefit. And they would read it again, and they would find another benefit that they didn't find before. And again, and they would find another benefit that they didn't what? Find before. Okay, and how should we do tafsir? How should we explain the Quran? The first step of explaining the Quran is you explain the Quran by the Quran. Abdul Malik, how do you explain the Quran? Abdul Rahim, how do you explain the Quran? How do you explain the Quran? By the Quran. Mahmoud, how do you explain the Quran? Abdullahi, how do you explain the Quran? So, what does this mean? Moise, what does this mean? Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةٍ مُبَارَكٍ. Inside Surah Dukhan. Hamid, listen. Abdul Rahim, listen, okay? Siddiq, listen to this. Muhammad, listen. Allah says in the Quran, we have sent down the Quran on a blessed night. Okay? فِي لَيْلَةٍ مُبَارَكٍ. Now, what is this blessed night? Allah explains it again in another place where He says, إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةِ الْقَدْرِ. So this blessed night is what? Laylatul Qadr. And how did we find out about this? Because of the what? The Quran. One place said we explained it, we sent it down on a blessed night. Another place made it, this was general. Another place made it specific and said we sent it down on the what? On Laylatul Qadr. Also the Quran is explained by the Sunnah. By the what? By the Sunnah, by the Prophet ﷺ. So Abdullahi, how is the Quran explained the second time? By the Prophet. Liban, how is it explained? Mahmoud, how is it? Hakim, how is it explained? By the Prophet. What does this mean? Do you remember when we talked about Inna a'tainaka al-Kawthar? What did we say al-Kawthar is? A river. And who told us this? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So who explained this word? The Prophet. So we know here the meaning of tafsir is brought from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also the Quran is explained by the what? By the companions. By the what? Because they have the best understanding. For example, when the surah came, إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسِ فَسَبِّحْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ. When this surah came down, Abdullah bin Abbas, he explained the surah and he said this surah shows that the death of the Prophet is coming soon. That the what? The death of the Prophet is what? How? Because Allah is telling the Prophet, إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ, when the victory comes and you come back. Look, you were kicked out of Mecca and you went to what? And you came back to Mecca and you're on top now. And people are, before people, only 10, 12 people accept Islam. Now you have a lot of people accepting what? Islam. وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسَ يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ. Then you should do فَسَبِّحْ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّكَ. Seek Allah forgiveness and say astaghfirullah. Shows that what? You have done your what? Your job. And thus, death is coming near. And also the fourth step is that Quran is explained by the what? By the Arabic language. By the what?
Arabic language.
Like the Arabic language. Okay, so now we know when we make tafsir. The first tafsir is what? Quran by? The second tafsir is Quran by the? The third is Quran by the? And the fourth is Quran by the? Very good. Now I ask you guys, what does Quran mean? Yes, you guys come to Quran school. You guys have a lot of Quran at home. You guys read a lot of Quran. People say read Quran. What does the word Quran mean? Abdullah. Always we say what? We need a what? A linguistic definition. Huh?
To serve.
So okay, so we can go to break. Listen to this, okay guys? Quran linguistically means what? Something that is being what? Recited. Something that is being what? Recited. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He told our Prophet, إِنَّ عَلَيْنَا جَمْعَهُ وَقُرْآنَ فَإِذَا قَرَأْنَاهُ فَاتَّبِعْ قُرْآنَ. When it's recited, فَإِذَا قَرَأْنَاهُ فَاتَّبِعْ قُرْآنَ. So Quran, one means what? Something that's what being what? Is the Quran being recited? Yes. Also Quran means what? Something that is what? Compiled. Something that is what?
Compiled.
What's compiled inside the Quran? You have surahs, right? You have all these surahs. Moise, watch your feet. You have what? All these surahs. You have verses, right? You have chapters all put together. So Quran linguistically, Mahmoud, means two things. Something that's being recited and something that's what? Compiled together. And does these two meaning apply to the Quran?
Yes.
Because the Quran is being recited and it's put together. You have juz, you have surah, you have ayahs and stuff like that, right? This is the linguistic. Now the technical meaning Quran. Quran first and foremost is the what? Is kalamullah. Is the speech of who?
Allah.
The speech of?
Allah.
And this should be enough for us to understand how important Quran is. If we were to stop here, Adam, look here. If we were to stop here and say Quran is the word of Allah, this should be enough for everybody to be very serious. Right, Mahmoud?
Yes, sir.
And want to learn, and want to memorize. You're coming to learn the word of Allah. Right, Abdullah? This is the speech of Allah that was sent down to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu. By who? By the way of Jibreel alayhi salam. And what? And is the recitation of the Quran is an act of worship. Again, Quran is what? You first say is the speech of who?
Allah.
That was sent to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam through the way of what? Jibreel. And the recitation of it is a what? Is an act of worship. Hayya, Abdullah, can you say that to us? Repeat that for us.
The Quran was brought down to
The Quran at first is the speech of? Is the speech of Allah. So now when you say the speech of Allah, this takes out all the other speeches. The speech of the humans, the speech of the what? Of the prophets. Is the speech of who? Allah. Hi.
And the prophet was brought down.
And it was sent to who?
The prophet.
So when you say it was sent to the prophet, now you take away the speech of Allah that was sent to the what? Other prophets. Now you be more specific. To what way?
It was brought by Jibreel.
Jibreel alayhi salam. And the recitation of it is what?
An act of worship.
Is it act of worship? So quickly, we're going to review what we talked about today. Who can tell me the meaning of tafsir linguistically? Quickly. Once we finish, we go for a break. Who can tell me the Muhammad? Linguistically, tafsir means to what? To explain, to discover. Okay. Technically, what does it mean? Technically. Tafsir means what? Tafsir means technically?
The science behind.
Good. Sadiq, go.
The science behind.
Okay, the meaning of the Quran, the understanding of the Quran, the science that's related to what? Taking ruling from the Quran. Why is tafsir important? Who can tell me one thing that shows how important tafsir is? Abdullah.
Because when you read the Quran, you can find a benefit from it with tafsir that you didn't see before.
No, Muhammad.
You need a definition. You can't just.
You need to understand what's being said to you, right? Okay, who can tell us how did the scholar make tafsir? Quickly, the 4 ways. Hamdi.
By using
The Quran by the Quran.
by using the sunnah,
By the Sunnah.
by companions,
By the companions.
in Arabic.
Excellent job, mashallah. Who can tell me the meaning of Quran? Quickly. Hamid.
Recitation.
It means recitation. What else? Munir.
Sure.
Huh?
Sure.
To serve? Very good. Okay. Ibrahim? Huh? Something being compiled. What about technically? What does Quran mean? Moise. The speech of Allah. Okay, what else? Sent to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam through Jibreel.
Reciting it is
And reciting it is what? Is it act of worship? Good job, guys, mashallah.